getting set to go. Todd, 31 years old. He's the hometown hero, isn't he?
He absolutely is. Won a CI championship in high school for San Marcos. And was a great setter at UCSB.
And light angle. You hear the calls out there, Geeter. They like to communicate. Let's take a look at the rules.
The rules: best 2 out of 3 games. The first 2 games are played to 21 points. If there's a third game, it's played to 15. It is rally scoring, which means a point on every single play, and you must win each game by 2 points.
1 serving 0 early on in game number 1. Come on. Oh, missing the chance to convert right there.
You're looking at 2 teams that are very similar. You have 2 great blockers in Sean Scott and Jake Gibb, and 2 of the best defenders in the entire world in Todd Rogers and Stein Metzger. Right there you saw Todd with a great layout, but he just couldn't convert.
Stein Metzger to serve up the rock. Long, great eye by Todd Rogers letting it go.
You're going to see Sean Scott go after Stein a little bit. Nobody does that. They serve Jake every single ball, but Todd and Sean know that Stein respects Sean's block more than anybody else on tour, so they do go after him a little bit. Make him work for it.
Sean Scott with his first service. And light! No, 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 no! Once again, an opportunity to convert a point. There's that 2-point gap. As you mentioned, you must win these games by 2. And even this early, that's a big mental block, isn't it?
Absolutely. Stein Metzger, one of the best side-out players in the world. That's why nobody serves him. But on this kind of sand, Sean Scott is a great blocker. He's a great blocker anyway.
Big hit down. Cross court for Jake Gibb. He loves that, doesn't he?
Oh, the big nasty. You know, he's got all the shots. He's got the high line, and right there he shows us the hard angle. Crushes it.
Jake Gibb converted the point. He now has the serve, down 2-3. And line. Point for Rogers and Scott.
Right there, Stein Metzger's in the right body. Plays at 45 degrees, steps into the angle, just got away from it.
Game 1 men's semifinals.
Todd Rogers about to serve it up again. Yeah. Had a couple weeks off with his collegiate team, UCSB. And angle, angle, angle. And go! It falls down, good for a 3-point gap. Todd Rogers, Sean Scott lead it early on in game number 1, 5-2. Stein Metzger, Jake Gibb gonna have to climb out of an early hole. No doubt they know how to do it.
This May, the eyes of the cycling world turn to Italy for the roughest, toughest, longest race on the peninsula. It's the Giro d'Italia. America's team takes on the world's fiercest cyclists. 2004's defending champion Dami is brought to you by Nissan, proud sponsor of the AVP and all things summer. And by Bud Light. Fresh, smooth, real. It's all here.
Welcome back to the AVP Nissan Santa Barbara Open. Game number 1.
Heads up play by Jake Gibb. After he attacked it, he stayed at the net because he saw that dig coming right back at him. Instead of pounding it, he went off speed. Put the ball down.
Got it. Stein Metzger, 2004 Olympian, with former partner Dax Holdren. This season he has partnered with Jake Gibb to great results. Won the first 2 tourneys, second in Austin.
Tough shot by Raji right there. Hit a big block in front of him, and Jake Gibb showed the angle and just cut it down the line. Wrist away style. Slow motion right here, shows an angle. Stop there.
Stein Metzger, uncanny ability to find that ball. Good. Like you said, Geeter, they're going to Stein. This set, point opportunity for Rogers and Scott.
Let's take a look at the dig right here.
7-3, Sean.
Look at that. That's why he was the best defender 2004, voted by the players of the AVP. Todd Rogers. Coaches the men at UCB, great assistant coach. They run to the semifinals this year in West Regional.
Stein trying to find that corner, unable to do so. So early on in game one, a big gap for Todd Rogers and Sean Scott, leading by 5, Geeter.
There we go, the swat back by Sean Scott. Stein gets another chance. He doesn't get a great approach right here. You don't have a great approach, you can't really hammer it. You have to place it. He just placed it a little too long out of bounds.
Good. Stein. This time he converts it.
Having a little success going at Stein Metzger, but right there he converts from the left side, goes underneath the block of Sean Scott.
Similar script to what we saw yesterday. They got in their heads early. It seemed like Gibb and Metzger just never really got over the hump.
No, exactly, and I think Steino's thinking to himself right now, I just need to be aggressive.
Watch it.
Big block by Jake Gibb right there.
You know, in the last match where they played Lambert and Fenoy, Jake Gibb did that. He gets timely stuff blocks. Easy points.
Jake Gibb takes the serve. Chance to cut it into. Jake Stein. They won in Fort Lauderdale, they won in Tempe, made it to the final of Austin. They ran into that great team of Phil Dahlhauser and Nick Lucena, ended up finishing second. What a great run they've had early on in this season. Right there, though, a 4-point gap again for Todd Rogers and Sean Scott. Hey everybody, Craig Hummer along with Chris McGee, Geeter, as we talked about at the opening of the show. These guys that we're seeing in our semifinals have had a great run so far. Let's go back though and talk about a team that is no more. As you know, a few weeks ago we talked about Mike Lambert, Karch Garay, Karch's shoulder injury. We thought that partnership was going to end then. It finally did this week. Give me your sort of opinion of both teams and who's formed where.
Well, I think Karch Garay, in a classy way, said, Lambo, it's time for you to go. Lambo tried out with a lot of different players. He called it a tryout. Tried out with Dane Blanton, John Hyden, but he picked Eric Fenoy Moana. They've won before last year in Santa Barbara, so I thought it was a good move. We'll see if it sticks. I mean, right, you know, they took a 5th place finish, but they were right there and they had chances to win.
Absolutely. Well, the team that went through Fenoy and Lambo, of course, we're seeing right now Jake Gibb and Stein Metzger.
They've had a phenomenal year already, and they're staying hungry. They're training hard, and every single week that they're trying to improve. We're going to see a little bit more is when Jake Gibb gets served, he's going to move around a lot more. He did it against Lambert. He was real successful. He'll run behind the set of Stein Metzger, so he has a little more court to work with.
Well, we talked to Karch early on. Karch said the thing that he likes about Jake Gibb, he's a lot more comfortable now that he's moved back to the right side. Jake told him he feels comfortable setting from that side, and as we've seen a lot in this season already, Jake Gibb, when he gets comfortable, he's dangerous.
He's up there as the top 3 players on the entire tour. He's having a phenomenal year. I mean, the guy's only been playing volleyball since he's been 21 years old.
Todd Rogers puts it up. Just off the block of Sean Scott. That'll close the gap a little. And that's what Stein and Jake have to do, don't they? Just chip away, not lose that confidence.
Absolutely. Well, when you're down, what you need to do is really steady out while you're siding out, which means receive serve, and then you just got to get points. You don't have to get them in huge bunches, but 1 at a time, 2 at a time, climb back in. Put a little pressure on the other team.
Go! And line up! Yeah!
Off the touch. That's just what you're talking about, Geeter. A couple at a time right there. 2 points in a row. Emotion plays such a big part in any of these games, don't they?
Oh, and absolutely momentum. But right there you go, Jake Gibb with the reaction. He is fired up because he knows they are right back in this thing. Jake Gibb touch that set it up, did put it perfectly on the net.
What a chance this would be for Rogers. Has never won in Santa Barbara as far as a final goes. If he wins here, he goes to the final with a chance to do that.
He's been in it 3 times, twice with longtime partner Dax Holdren, and last year he was in there with Sean Scott and they lost to Fenoy and Lambo.
Good.
And like,
once again, the gap is 2. 8 serving 10.
a little pokey.
You mentioned Jake not playing until he was 21. It does note, and we should know, grew up in Utah.
Bountiful Utah.
strung up a net in the backyard.
And by the way, a lot of brothers and sisters.
11.
He's the youngest of 11. He has a twin. He's actually here today. What's great is that every single weekend where Jake's been in the semifinal and the final, the family all gets together and they watch it and they go crazy. A lot of support and love.
Todd trying to keep his run going. He's got a lot of support here as well, being one of the hometown boys. Incredible Santa Barbara connection. Right there.
Matt's children and Todd Rogers are absolutely loved by the Santa Barbara crowd. I mean, they grew up here. They went to San Marcos High School, played for the legendary coach John Lee, and then Todd going to UC Santa Barbara. He's a fantastic setter, All-American. Now he coaches UC Santa Barbara.
Oh, there we go. The touch.
Off the antenna, so the point goes to Rogers and Scott.
A big point swing right there. 5-point gap now. Todd Rogers, Sean Scott really trying to increase their lead. Let's take a look at some of the other teams that were around this weekend.
Sixth time in 27 events that he's taken worse than a 9.
Last tournament's champions, Phil Dahlhauser and Nick Lucena, they finished 7th.
They're good. I mean, they played phenomenal in Austin. They had an unbelievable game against Jose and Fred yesterday, Brazilians, 26-24 in the third.
Casey Jennings and Matt Furbringer, we are just waiting for these guys to bust out, aren't we? They end up 7th.
You hit it right on the head. They are right there every single weekend, ready to get to another final.
And this tournament's defending champs, Mike Lambert and Eric Fenoy-Moana, they just went out this match before we're watching. They finished in 5th.
They looked great in game number 1 against Metzger and Gibb, and they're a few swings away from winning that match, and we would see them right now. So they're right there.
And there you see those posted results along with Fenoy and Lambo, Aaron Boss, Brian Lewis come back together again, and they pair for a 5th.
That's great for Louis after that injury. Pulled his groin a little bit in Fort Lauderdale, so he has to play, but to come back with AB and get a 5th, that close to getting to the Final Four, Louis is alive and well.
Good time had by all, rocking out on the sand.
That's B. Lee's son.
You don't
Referee Brant Lee.
You got to practice young.
Apple doesn't
how you get
fall
good.
too far from the tree.
Todd Rogers, Sean Scott trying to increase the lead, but not on that point. Off the touch, Gibb and Metzger closed within 4.
When you play as well as these two, Jake Gibb and Stein Metzger, and you have the block of Jake Gibb and the defense of Stein Metzger, they always feel like they're in the game, so no margin. It's too big to come back from.
They have had 5 unforced errors so far. As we've mentioned, a tad uncharacteristic. Like it was just for too low. We have a problem.
Where to get involved?
B. Lee, head referee up there, going to have a discussion.
Ball hit the line. The ball hit the line. I was looking right at it.
Okay, all right, thank you. Yeah, going this way, going this way.
So they reversed the call. We all watch in anticipation. Ooh, everybody's seeing that on the big screen. Here's another look. I didn't see the tape move. Did you, Geeter?
I did not see it jump, but great communication between the referees.
Absolutely, and they have the toughest job out there without a doubt, having to call that instantaneously. They don't get the benefit of the replay like we do. Best referees in the land.
In all of show business.
That's good. And I think Stein had a little bit of frustration with that little swing.
He did right there, and he absolutely bombed it. What was so great about that is as he's approaching, he's looking at the defender, Todd Rogers, to see where he is, and he hits it the other way.
Lightning quick reflexes, all these players.
Jake! Oh, darn it! Good move.
He wanted that one.
No. His bad.
Careful, watch your line.
Take a look at Sean Scott as he turns it down the line. The layout by Metzger. just off the forearm. There's a sweet spot on that forearm, Craig, and if you get it, oh, it's nice.
Sounds good,
Yes.
and the ball pops straight up. Stein with the most digs so far this season, almost 300, showing you the form. Oh, what an uncanny ability to read the defense.
And the smile by Metzger as he walks away.
He and Sean exchanged a look right there, didn't they?
Yeah, they had a little battle yesterday. You got to realize these two grew up together in Honolulu, Hawaii. They went to Puno High School together. They're great friends, and yesterday they went at it.
Sometimes the best competitors are the best friends because they know each other so well. Can't hide anything.
Just like you and I, buddy, meeting every day up here.
No!
Oh, Stein says no. Jacob the down, but it's the tape right now. Very on that thing right now. Gets sort of dated right there. Jake Gibb, Stein, Metzger have to find a way to claw their way back into this.
That's getting late.
There they go. They get the touch that they were after.
Oh yeah, high hands. Jake Gibb, he knew it the whole time. He said, stick them up, Sean.
This, of course, is one of two semifinals. The other semifinal going on out in court one.
We take the switch.
Dax Holder and Jeff Nygaard.
Their fourth Final Four in 4 events.
There we see right now. Teams out on court number 1.
Baxter and Ring, the new team.
I know. Paul Baxter, Jason Ring. A chance to close it down. But no, not there. Staying alive.
That was Paul Baxter.
Yeah, exactly.
All the way.
Putting it down.
Kid from Minnesota.
Keeping it close. We come back inside the stadium court. Jake Gibb tossing it up.
Angle.
Oh, you love to see that if you're a Jake Gibb fan.
And that's what the Big Nasty does so well, the big stuff.
They need a few more of those, but that's a great place to start.
Look at that press over the net, across the net. Penetration by Jake Gibb, and then the celebration. The confidence and the swagger. They don't care how many they're down by. They know they're going to come back to the game.
They are down by 3.
That's a hammer.
That's the end of that rally. Yeah. Sean Scott saying, I'm going to take matters into my own hands.
Yeah, book it.
17-13. Rogers.
This would just a side out ball for Scott if they set up the rest of the way. I know, that's 2 this game, where he's just sort of been a little sly.
Looks like he's going to set and just breaks out the knuckle poke.
And it's important, isn't it, how he hits
absolutely.
that?
Well,
Because if he hits it open hand,
Absolutely, yeah. He moves his feet back and he has to knuckle that.
has to knuckle it. As a rule, if it's up open hand, that would not be legal.
It wouldn't fly, Craig.
Wouldn't fly. It may fly over. Let her fly for a point.
Line.
Oh, chance. Todd Rogers and Sean Scott have found a way in game 1 every time.
What an unreal dig by Metzger, but just like you said, they find a way right there. Looked like Sean Scott did a triple Lindy before he hit that ball.
That, yet again, is what confidence will do for you. They know they beat this team early on. I hate to say they have their number, but they know how to play them. You mentioned earlier, they know whether it's go to Stein or they know the pluses and minuses of this team.
I talked to Rogers before the match, 20 and he said, everybody goes to Jake Gibb and they win, so go to Stein a little bit.
Steino answers.
You know, when I was announcing earlier the Lambeau Fenoy Metzger Gibb game, Karch was standing behind me, and he was mentioning how if you go to Gibb 5, 6, 7 times in a row and he's putting every single ball away, you just have to go to Stein just to
Break
see
it
if
up.
he's ready.
Got to try something else.
Absolutely. Get him out of his rhythm.
Jake Gibb about to serve it up.
And cut.
Once again, Todd Rogers has an answer.
Holder Nygaard won game 1 on the outer courts.
Chance for Rogers and Scott to get to within 1 point of this first game. I said it earlier, Geeter, you have to win 2 games out of 3. That got the tape, and they are within 1. Todd Todd Rogers and Sean Scott are putting on a clinic in this first game of our men's semifinal. We'll be back. On series standings, Geeter, and as you would expect off of their 2 first place, Gibb and Metzger are on top of the board.
Yeah, and then Holtron and Nygaard right behind him. They've been in 2 finals in their 4th Final Four. Jennings and Furbringer hanging around in that 3rd spot. And take a look at Hellhauser, Lucina in the 4th spot, that huge win in Austin. Blanton Wong, Rosenthal Witt tied for 5th. How long are Blanton and Wong going to stay together? We'll see.
Very disappointing weekend for them, I believe. Wasn't it 17th that they went home with?
That's a team that should be here every single weekend.
Certainly they both feel that way. And on paper, you're absolutely right.
You know, it is tough out here. There are so many good teams. It is absolutely amazing the field out here on the men's side of the AVP Tour.
Well, the depth certainly is what makes it exciting for the fans and for us as commentators. I mean, every week it's a different team that's really showing their stripes.
It's awesome. That's why I love it.
Get out, that's it. Come on.
No touch and out, so just like that, they're within 3.
You get one more and we call it a pucker. That's when you start to tighten up a little bit. You think, all I have to do is one side out. It's like one more pin, Rodney.
I'm glad you stopped your description at the pucker. That's it. Little miss set right there, and that goes out as well. You said it, partner. It could be happening.
Yeah, let's take a look at this one again.
You had your crystal volleyball working right there. Another look. Oh, just off the heel. Just off the heel. And that is a great call by the referees.
Was there no jump in the line?
I saw no jump. You are open to your own interpretation.
I'm going to go with you on this one. And the pucker starts now.
It does indeed. They had game point. It looked like it was in the bag.
You missed short a lot. Let's make sure you pass it.
Let's head down to Mary Strong for a sec. Mary, what do you got?
Craig Gibb seems to be very frustrated right now. He's thrown his hat down a few times and screamed. He's just not happy with his play at the net right now. He's not blocking as effectively as he would like, and that's a key against a hitting god like Sean Scott. Now, Gibb has also hit a few balls out. Very unlike him. He knows he needs to get focused now for them to win this game. Geeter, for a player like Gibb, does he do better when he's frustrated? Some players tend to tank.
Oh, no, Jake Gibb. You know what? That's why I like to call him the Big Nasty. When he gets a little angry and he gets a little passionate, he's better.
Great info by Mary there, down on the sand, able to see all this while it's going on. And she's right. I mean, Jake, he expects a certain level of play out of himself.
Absolutely. I mean, when someone gets frustrated, naturally, he might not be at your best, but I think he's learning how to use it to his benefit. He gets a little more nasty, you know what I mean? He gets a little more aggressive.
Steino needs 2 to force OT, so to speak. Todd Rogers and Sean Scott. They want to end it here. Look at that dig.
And light.
We got ourselves a game, Geeter.
What a shot by Stein Metzger. Rogers thought it was going out, and that finds the line.
Steino wanting to hear the love from the crowd, and he's getting it.
Let's take a look at how he got this first ball up. Are you kidding me?
Found that sweet spot around the back of the hand.
Back flip. Look at that shot. The winner to the line.
Lift off.
Doesn't get any better than that. Finding the yellow tape.
Right there.
But just like that, the rally ends up coming up short. Off of almost the poor set, they convert. Rogers and Scott win game 1. It got closer than they liked, but they'll be up 1-0 when we come back.
Tonight, OLN's
The fans are amped. Santa Barbara Open AVP Nissan Series. We're in the men's semifinal. Welcome back, everybody. Craig Hummer, Chris McGee, along with Mary Strong. Todd Rogers, Sean Scott, Geeter won that first game, but it was very close and probably a lot closer than they liked.
Yeah, they were up big through most of the match, but, you know, Stein and Jake came back like they always do and made it close. Let's see if they can carry some of that momentum into game 2, and we can see a game 3 here.
It fell for him off Jake's touch, so they'll draw first blood. Rogers and Scott in game number 2 off to an early 1-0 lead.
You know, in that first game, all the breaks went to Todd Rogers and Sean Scott. All the balls that trickled off the tape or hit the line. That's the difference.
We're even at ones.
That's a great high hit for all of you players learning the game. Want to go high hands and tool.
Jake Gibb about to serve it. Won in Austin last year. That was his first win. He's won twice this year. Everybody calls him one of the best players on the sand. That time getting faked out just a little by Sean Scott.
Yeah, Sean Scott goes with a nice little cut shot right there, just over the block of Jake Gibb. Way too far for Stein to run down, even though he can run down almost anything. As we saw at the end of that game 1.
What we didn't see a lot of in game 1 was Jake Gibb blocking. That was a freebie.
Right there, he said, "Thank you for that set, Sean."
That was the gift-wrapped softball Christmas present.
There it is. There's the replay of the overset. And thank you.
Don't mind if I do.
Don't get many gifts out here.
That is
when
for
they
sure.
do, you take it.
You take them gladly. Steino 6 wins. Trying to get to the final and try for number 7.
Rogers, what a shot. God, he's just so good with his wrist. I mean, he's really tough to read as a defender. He's got a quick wrist with a cut shot, and they can also go wrist away down the line.
Todd Rogers about to throw it up.
Good. And line.
Off the block. We're even at 3s.
Even at 3. Jake and Stein are happy about that. They got down just a little too much early. Game number 1. Tough hole to climb out of.
And we heard them talking at the break. They knew that the breaks didn't go their way. He's got big heat right there. Steino, as quick as he is, just couldn't even react fast enough.
And that's rare.
See the side change. All the side changes in the first 2 games come at 7-point intervals. In the third, it will be every 5 points. And in a lot of beaches, it's not really happening this weekend, but a lot of beaches, there really is a good and bad side, isn't there?
Oh, absolutely, but I mean, there's not that much wind inside here. You go to somewhere like Fort Lauderdale, the wind is just howling.
The wind usually is the determining factor. There, you just had a missed set, costing Stein to go off of the net, and they were unable to convert. Welcome back to game number 2 of the men's semifinal here in Santa Barbara. First game went to Rogers and Scott. Second game, they are up by 2 with the serve. Sean Scott behind the line, about to toe it up. 99 AVP Rookie of the Year, Sean Scott.
Came on the tour with Matt Unger.
Matty-o.
Matty-o. Fiery one. One of the great competitors. It's a fun team to watch. You could tell then at 99, Sean Scott was going to be a great player.
Game 2 men's semifinal, Santa Barbara. Clap it up.
Sean and Todd yet to be in a final this year. Jake and Stein 3 for 3. Pretty amazing this day with the depth in the AVP Tour.
Really is. New team. They have shown their excellence without a doubt.
You see Stein and Jake mixing it up. They'll serve Raji, and then they'll go to Sean Scott. Trying to see who they can score off of.
Back to that 2-point gap. Critical 2-point gap.
A lot of legends out here, by the way. I see Stokey over there talking to
Up in the VIP tent, you're right.
Stokey's a VIP.
Oh, yeah.
You got over 100 wins.
I think so. I think you're in the club.
I saw some guy in the front row wearing his shorts from about 79.
Probably signed by Stokey.
Angle! Nice.
Great set by Todd Rogers, making it look easy. The back bump set, perfect.
This is the same point as in game number 1 when it started to slip away from Gibb and Metzger. They really have to figure out a way to stay focused. Oh, and that ace is not going to help matters. Jake Gibb just watched it hit the line.
Sean Scott with a phenomenal jump serve, placing it perfectly. Not easy to do. Jump serve, then run to the net and block. Sean Scott is in great shape, as are most of the players out here on the AVP Tour. If you're not in great shape, you're actually not going to be here on a Sunday, Craig.
Great coverage all week long from the Santa Barbara News Press. They love their volleyball up here. You know, they talked about, Todd Rogers was quoted as saying how much work he and Sean have put in the past couple weeks, and it's certainly paying off right now. A 4-point gap for Todd Rogers and Sean Scott. They've already won game 1. They're up in game number 2.
OLN is taking you to the deadliest edges of the...
About him, there he is, the legend himself, Randy Stoklos.
Look at Stokey talking to Dane Selznick, the coach for Misty Bay and Kerry Walsh, former world champ himself, and Stokey with 122 wins. Put Butch May in the background, Misty's father, St. John's up there. You got a lot of legends.
Speaking of St. John, 114 of those 122 came with St. John. Talk about a great partnership. The AVP Nissan Series back in California, and the legends are coming out. There you see Gibb and Metzger so far this season. We've talked about him in the seed and the finish. 3 finals in a row.
And in Austin, they had a couple of swings for the match. They could be 3 for 3. I mean, but Lucina Delhauser, got to give those guys credit. They played phenomenal as first-time finalists.
Saw that stat. They were seeded first in Austin. No number 1 seeded team has won since the opening tournament in 2003, Geeter.
Amazing stat.
And they are seated first here as well. And right there, Jake Gibb thought a call was going to go his way, and he just didn't react.
Yeah, Stein and Jake are both looking at B. Lee, the head referee, because they thought that ball had already crossed the plane of the net. They thought it was theirs for the taking.
Well, it's certainly easy for us to say up here, but they have to find a way to pull this out if they have any hope at all. Because much like the last game, a 5-point gap, it's just not going to be easy to dig themselves out of this hole. That's a good way to start.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Craig. You know what? One thing they need to do is start serving a little bit tougher. Make Sean and Todd work a little bit. Maybe you can get some off plays, get some easy points.
Lee helping out there, catching the ball. Jake unable to convert.
He was woken up by the ball.
That's right.
Some say B. Lee sleeps with his eyes open.
Depends which players you're talking to.
B. Lee is one of the greats.
He is a classic individual.
Does a great Mick Jagger. Everyone loves him.
Come on, help me. Straight up. I go.
Todd Rogers has been everywhere on this court. And off the touch, it falls for him. Good for a 6-point lead. 12 serving 6. It bears noting, of course, we've talked a lot about Jake Gibb and Stein Metzger, but Todd Rogers and Sean Scott are playing darn good.
They're playing so well. I mean, Raji is digging everything, and Sean Scott, I'm telling you, that's why I watched him yesterday against this team. He was absolutely on fire. And there he goes again.
There you see it. When you figure out the over on 2 sneak shot, that knows your day is going well for you.
Yeah, and you know what? They missed each other. When Todd was coaching, he didn't play in Tempe. He came late to Austin, so he had to play with Reed Pretty. Sean Scott was with Jason Ring for a couple tournaments, but you know what? It was good to get those two back together, and right now they are closing in on a final. Help, 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 help. Great save.
Sean Scott once again, just so dominant at the net. 14-16, an 8-point gap. There you see the score out on court number 2. Holdren and Nygaard are going to the final. They win 21-19, 21-12.
For the third time, they're 0 for 2 against Gibb and Metzger, but right now, it's looking like it could be a Holdren, Nygaard, Roger Scott, which would mean Dax and Todd, old partners that played twice in the finals. Neither of them have ever won here on their home beach, but they're guaranteed somebody if they can pull this out.
Santa Barbara fans would be licking their lips for something like that. It just got a lot more animated here in Stadium Court, but it is now a 9-point switch. Let's send it down to Mary.
Well, this is obviously a jumper speech, so players are tempted to just get up and hit as hard as they can. But I just talked to Jeff Alzina, Gibb and Metzger's coach, and he said they're going to use Scott's higher hands to tool the block to get a few of those extra points they so desperately needed in that last game. So something to watch for a little offensive strategy at the net for Gibb and Metzger.
Thanks, Mary. They certainly need something at this point.
Mary in the trenches.
Getting us the inside scoop. You got to love it. Great we're going, though. There's not going to be much of this game left. Once again, even though it went out, Sean Scott had him figured out.
Absolutely. One thing I can tell you is Jake Gibb and Stein Metzger will not give up. They might be down 8 points, but they will compete.
As you would expect from the 3-time finalists, they want to get back there. Nothing better than being in an AVP final, except of course winning it.
Yeah. How about Raji right there, the twist and turn.
Little matrix action.
Yeah, I don't know how the shoulder can take that. Fly one way,
as long as
tweak it, torque it, bomb it the other way.
As long as you only do it once a weekend, I think the ice remedy works.
No.
That is a shot that we've seen Jake unfortunately do a lot.
Well, I think Mary hit it on the head earlier. I think he's going for that high hands. He's trying to get it off his fingertips, but it's just a little too high.
10-point advantage now for Rogers and Scott. Closing in on this match. Already won game 1. Fell for Jake there, but Jake Gibb, 6 errors already in this match.
Jake's thinking to himself right now, I need to get a couple of blocks. Get us back in this thing. Maybe turn the crowd a little bit.
The stat, of course, is 6 errors for Jake Gibb. However, Sean Scott is a dominating presence that he's trying to hit over. So that certainly influences your decision-making ability when you go up in that instant.
Yeah, they're playing awfully well. You know, you also have to note Stein and Jake have already played almost 2 finals today. I mean, they had to play Furby Jennings at 8 a.m. and then turn right around at 9 a.m. to play Fenoy Lambeau.
You're absolutely right. That is a final any tournament.
It's their 3rd match by 11 o'clock. Todd and Sean went the easy way. They won this morning at 8 and rested for a couple hours.
Well, that's the right. To the victors go the spoils. You come through the winner's bracket. That's what you get. You get the rest.
You're right, my friend. Timeout, huh?
With the timeout, the score 18-8 in game number 2. It's like the Sports Illustrated jinx, Geeter, that #1 seed curse. Since 2003, the opening tournament in Fort Lauderdale, no #1 seed has won.
I think the next tournament in San Diego, just give up that 1 seed.
Yeah, I say they try to give it to you. You say, no, thank you. No, thanks. I'll take 2. Jakester finally gets something he likes. Is that the rallying point they need? They got a long uphill. If you're a cycling fan on OLN, this is like pedaling up the Alps with 1 pedal. They got a long way to go.
Like that one.
Oh, you don't think there's some heat going on out there? Wow.
Scott just flailing his body in his hands.
It's desperation time for Jake Gibb and Stein Metzger.
Sean right there, just throwing out those big paws. I'll tell you what, he almost brought that back into the net. He could have played it. It's off the block. You can touch it again.
Great athleticism from Sean Scott right there, but the point goes to Jake Gibb and Stein Metzger, and Steiner likes it.
You know what? They're down 10-18, but they're still working out there.
Hey, push. And 9. That's it!
Off the touch, it still falls in as well, so brings them to within 7 and 1 point down by 10.
Started with a tough serve by Jake Gibb as well.
Crawling and scratching and trying to get back into it.
They need a few more.
They do indeed. The points need to come in bunches right now.
Yeah.
Steino was there.
Made a great move, right in the pocket.
You see the score, 19-11. This game 2 is to 21. Must win by 2. If Todd Rogers and Sean Scott win it, they advance to their first final of the season.
Play Dax Holdren and Jeff Nygaard, one of the Santa Barbara boys. Will get a win today.
Santa Barbara Mafia be out in force. Just long Stein Metzger, great experience, and watches it go out.
Great eye by Stein Metzger.
Stein on to take a serve.
Let's take a look at this first team right there. Oh, Raji. Perfect platform, 2 hands together.
Okay.
Another great over-the-shoulder save.
Coming in.
You see the bump.
I'd like to thank Aquafina, official
Right near the end of the play as it goes just long, Craig. Good eye by Stein Metzger. Great camera work.
Our gap is to 7 once again. Steino. This would be Herculean for Gibb and Metzger to come back from this deficit.
They still have a long way to go.
They certainly do. It's only going to take 2 side outs for Rogers and Scott to win this thing. But at the moment, you can feel a little bit of a turn, can't you? Just a tad.
It's bad it's not 3 out of 5.
Angle easy.
But there goes Lady Momentum right back to Sean Scott and Todd Rogers.
Again, we are at match point, ladies and gentlemen. All the hard work early on in this match could pay off right here. The crowd begins the clap.
Craig Comstock doing the PA announcement, getting it going down there.
Young Jedi, you're training him.
Apprentice.
Not over just yet. Jake Gibb unwilling to relinquish his spot in a possible final. Uses his right arm to answer.
Great angle shot by Jake Gibb.
But unfortunately for them, as the crowd is letting them know, it is still match point for Rogers and Scott. They needed a block, they didn't get it. Todd Rogers, Sean Scott are going to the final here in Santa Barbara, Geeter.
Yeah, Sean Scott, Todd Rogers, what an effort, and they have been dominating all weekend long. 24-14, game 2. Raji and Sean in the final.
It wasn't even close in the second game, except early on. Todd Rogers, Sean Scott, they have shown great form. We are gonna have a Santa Barbara final. This concludes our coverage of the men's semis, where once again,